All right, so we are here basically mid-season. It is post-week 8. If you are new to this, I do power rankings before week 1, so right after the preseason, right after preseason week 3, so we see what the new recruits and rookies look like and if they're going to affect the team and whatnot. So I'll do one right before week 1. I'll do one in the mid-season, which little after, week 8, week 9, somewhere in there. I'm doing this year. It's week 8. And then I'll do one heading into the playoffs. So I'll do one after week 18. Last year it's 17. Obviously, there's another game this year, so I got to do it after week 18 to basically do a playoff rankings. And from week 1 to week 8, there is a big difference in my rankings. So if you're not familiar with this, again, I'm going to go through. We're going to talk about other teams, why I have them placed where they are. And they typically are a longer video, so, I know people don't like that. They don't stick around for it all. But, stick around because I'll talk about every team and try to go in depth as best as I can. Starting with the Lions. Now, it's obvious. 0-7 coming in, or 0-8, excuse me, sorry. They look good against the Rams, and then they come out and score 6 against the Eagles. If the Lions look good against the Rams, came out and beat the Philadelphia Eagles, I would have probably put them probably like 23 or 24. I'd probably put them top 25. Just because, again, they look so good, and then they just fell flat and just did not show up, didn't want to play. I don't get it. I don't get how you can be competitive and then you just aren't competitive against worse teams. And the LA Rams are definitely a top 10 team. So I just, I don't get it. So they got to be here at 32. Just, again, 0-8, and then you just don't look good against meh teams. So, and there's a chance they could go, 0-17. So there's a chance for that. 31, the Jags. I mean, the only reason they're above is, they have 1 win. So, Trevor Lawrence doesn't look good. I don't think Urban Meyer was the answer to head coaching. Obviously, again, we're only 8 weeks through. It's only his first year. So, maybe 2 years down the line, I'm talking about a team that's trying to go for the playoffs here instead of saying, Urban Meyer sucks. But, just from what we've seen for this first 8 weeks, the Jags aren't that good of a team, and I think everyone sees that. So, next, 30, the Texans. The only reason I know, the Jags beat them. Was that week 1 or whatever? But I don't know. Just right now, I just feel like the Jags would just struggle, and I don't know if it'd be the same team it was week 1. I feel like the Texans are a little better, if you can even say they're, a bad team, because they're horrendous. But, I mean, I think they're a little better than the Jags, especially right now. Again, I know Jags beat them, but I just think, by week 8 or heading into week 9, I just think there's a chance that, the Texans would do better now than what they were start of the season. So, next, 29 is the Jets. Now, this is probably the highest I've ever had the Jets in my rankings. So, that's saying something here. I think the Jets could beat 3 teams. That's, and obviously they just beat up the same, or not. They didn't beat up Cincinnati, but they played them real well. Mike White, first Jets QB since I believe the 60s, I believe is what the stat was, to throw for over 400 yards. First Jets QB since the 60s. We're talking almost 60 years ago. That's crazy. That's crazy. I don't know. I just, after watching that Cincinnati game, now again, they have a game against the Colts on Thursday. This might actually... I'm going to have to put this up probably Thursday before the game, aren't I? Yeah, I'm going to have to get this up before Thursday. Before the game, at least. So, if they lose to the Colts, I probably still would put them at 29 here. Because I just think, you just beat the number 1 seed. I mean, that deserves some respect. It really does. So the Jets, they have 2 wins now this season. Um, I don't know. I think the Jets, there's pieces there. Obviously, Mike White is he's what, a third year in the league, so he's had some experience. And obviously you're on the Jets, you're on a terrible team, but you let them do a victory. So I think that's pretty good. 28 is the Broncos. God, everyone was saying they were playoff contenders after the first 3 weeks. They beat the Jets, the Jags, and the Giants after 3 weeks. You beat some of the worst teams, and you're a playoff contender. I never believed that. They're what, 4-4 now? Barely just beat Washington this past week. So I don't know. It was 17-10. It wasn't that high of a scoring game. A lot of defensive, well, kind of defensive. I don't know. It's just, I don't believe in the Broncos. I don't know why people are saying after 3 weeks they're playoff contenders when, again, you got to wait till at least midseason to see where a team is, and they beat some of the worst teams ever. So, that's why I have them here. Next is the Eagles. Was this 27? They're just an okay team. They got destroyed by Dallas week 3 or 4, whatever, early in the season, basically. And then, I don't know, they look, obviously just beat the Lions pretty handily, but it's the Lions, so not a lot of credit there. So, then we have the Falcons coming in at 26. Every year I think, okay, Falcons are going to start to turn it around, and then they don't. And, I'm putting them this low just, strictly because I thought they'd be an okay team, and they're not. And they're just not. They play so weirdly. They make you kind of think they're hopeful for a win, and that, as a fan, you have a chance. So, I feel bad for Atlanta sports fans because it's not good. This team is just, I don't know how you can survive this team. I just don't know. Ever since 28-3, I don't know how you could be a fan of the Falcons when they don't know how to hold a lead, and they don't know how to win, and they look good, and then they look bad the second half of the season. It just is what it is. Coming at 25 is the Steelers. Now, the Steelers did just beat the Browns, but it was hurt Mayfield. I think was OBJ out. He was either hurt or out. Jarvis Landry, he might have. I don't know. Was he healthy? He might have been healthy. I don't know Jarvis Landry. And I don't think Nick Chubb played. I'm probably wrong on that one too. But it's a hurt Browns team. They're not full strength. The Steelers, they're probably gonna have a winning record. Probably gonna somehow make it the wild card. I don't know. They just don't look like that good of a team. Obviously, they have a good defense, but then it ends up just falling apart when they get to playoffs, and it has for a while now. So I don't know. I don't trust the Steelers. They're an okay team. Just don't know how to really feel about them, which is why I have them here at 25. But you'll probably end up with not a winning record, but at least 9-8 or whatever, and somehow make the playoffs. So then I have the Miami Dolphins right ahead of them. Now it's a slim lead. It's a very slim lead. I almost put the Dolphins at 25 and Steelers at 24. Technically, I guess I could switch them right now if I really wanted to just say it, but the Dolphins, it was I think it was 7.5 against the Bills, I believe. So they hung in there for the first half of the game against probably top 3. I'd probably put them. Yeah, see, it's very tough. The AFC top is very tough because you have a lot of teams. they're probably a top 3 team. I think I'd put them in the top 3, even though they lost to Tennessee. But you got to probably put Tennessee in that mix with the healthy Derrick Henry too. So I don't. It's really hard. But they hung in there with the Bills for a while before it was 26-11 at the end. But 2 is not the answer. Then I have the Giants all the way up here at 23. What is it? Yeah, 23. Kansas City's not really a benchmark to really look at now. So you can't really say, oh, they hung in there with Kansas City, because Kansas City's not really what they were 2 years ago. The Giants are fine. I think it's gonna be hard to get a wild card spot for them. I think there's still potential, I guess. I'm a little higher on Danny Dimes than most people. I think he's an okay QB. I think he gets way too much hate. I think he's okay. I'm not saying he's top 10, top 15, but he's okay. He's an okay QB. So I think they'll be fine. And then obviously they just got weapons back. I think Shepard just got hurt again against the Chiefs, even though he just came back. But I think if the Giants, you're just hopeful for a wild card spot, because you're not catching the Cowboys. They have to literally lose about every single game for you just to be able to catch up to them, and that's not going to happen. So then I have the Patriots here at 22. This one's hard because there's been so many games, so many close games where it's like, okay, if this play happened instead, they probably win that game. Or if they go for it on 4th and 3 against the Bucks and get a first down, get a closer field goal, they probably win that game. So I just, couple mistakes here and there, and their record is way better than what it is right now. So I have them at 22 because I said at the beginning of the year, I said they're probably going to be the 7th seed, 6th or 7th seed, sneaking in the playoffs. I still believe that. Again, they're looking good. Obviously, they just beat the Chargers. So, I think there's potential where, I still think they'll be a good team. I don't know how to think about them because they're losing close games. But it's just 1 or 2 plays here, and their record is, again, way better. And they're probably up there competing for the division with the Bills. If they had, a couple more wins here. So that's why I have them there. 21, I have the Seahawks. They're not bad without Russell Wilson. They're not terrible. Geno Smith coming in looked pretty good against the Rams. Obviously, they lost that game, but he looked decent against the Rams. And then they barely lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers the next week. And then, that was the Jags this week. Wasn't there another game I'm thinking of? There might have been another. I think maybe. I don't know. But when Russell Wilson comes back, I think this offense will be a little better. But they're decent. They'll find a way to try to stay competitive in the division. I think they're playing. I think they have the Rams coming up soon. I believe sometime soon the Rams are coming up. I don't think, have they played a divisional opponent? I don't know. I don't pay attention to the schedule for the Seahawks, so I don't know. But it's gonna be tough. But if you can steal some divisional wins against the Rams and the Cardinals, there's potential where you can just get back in the race for the West. So then 20, I have Chicago. Now Chicago's lucky this is even this high because they just don't look good. Their offense, their O-line is terrible. Justin Fields is running for his life. Allen Robinson is not getting targeted as much. Darnell Mooney seems to be Justin Fields' number 1 target now. But their offense is terrible. Matt Nagy, when he's not calling, the Bears look good against San Francisco, and then the end they just kind of fell flat at the end of the game there. But it's just their defense has carried them. The defense is why they have the record they do. It's because Fields barely gets over 100 yards. He'll throw a pick. I think he's thrown a pick almost every single game. And against playoff teams, it's not going to be good. I think the Vikings have a better shot than the Bears of making the playoffs this year. Fields again, he'll develop, but it's just he's got to stop running for his life. Yes, he's a mobile QB, but if your O-line's just letting everyone pass, then eventually you're not going to be able to escape because they're just going to trap you in the backfield where you can't run away. And has yet to learn to throw it away, or there's some times where sliding. It's just but I don't even want to talk about it because it's just the Bears. They're an team, and it's literally their defense is the only reason they're good. Next 19 is the Carolina Panthers. They started out decent, and they got cold, and then I think they just won against the Falcons. Did they have a win the week before? I don't even remember who they played the week before. I don't know. They're an okay team too. They're just okay. Their defense, nothing special. Their offense, nothing special. CMC is out again this year. I think he was out first couple weeks, or was it like week 2 to week 4, something like that, and then he got injured again. So now he's out again for a couple more weeks. So I mean, Sam Darnold. He's honestly looking worse than what I thought he would. Honestly, so. I was really pulling for Sam Darnold. I was really hoping he would do good, and he's not looking too good right now. So I just hope they turn it around. They have Gilmore starting this week. Or did he start last week? It's either last week or this week, whatever. So eventually maybe their defense will get better with Gilmore out there. We'll see. Then we have the Niners next. See, the Niners confuse me as a team because they look good at the beginning of the season. Then they had a drought of just not playing too good. Now, obviously, there's been injuries and whatnot. And then, they played decent against the Bears last week. I think they had a bye the week before, but they played pretty good against the Bears the week before. That defense had a hard time stopping that offense. So, the Niners start to look better again. But I'm worried that they're going to just drop again and get worse again after a couple weeks. We'll see. The Bears defense, again, they're probably top 10. Bears defense is probably maybe they have a really good defense is my point. And the Niners, again, just offensively, were able to take control. Obviously, it was a little slow first half, very defensive battle, but then the Niners figured it out faster than what the Bears could. Then the Bears could figure out the Niners defense. So, they're a good team, but I'm worried they're just gonna start tanking again and falling off that cliff once again after they get a couple good wins. So we'll see. I think they play the Cardinals this week, I believe. So that's gonna be an interesting game too. Then we have the Vikings next. Now, if the Vikings would have beat the Cowboys, I probably would have had the Vikings in the top 10. Cowboys would have probably still been lower top 10. Vikings would have probably been at number 10. But they just look sloppy. I don't know how to feel about this team because, they're just looking okay overall as the season goes on. Carolina takes you into OT. Carolina just, hasn't looked good recently. Obviously, you should have beaten the Cardinals if you had a kicker. I don't know how to feel because the Vikings they'll contend for a playoffs, a spot, a wild card spot, I should say. I don't know. I don't know if they're going to be able to beat the Packers because they just did not. They're looking okay. Obviously, Dalvin Cook got contained, and Kirk Cousins just had to carry the load. He just couldn't against that Cowboys defense. So it's just, I feel like it's got to run through Dalvin Cook. Otherwise, I don't know. Obviously Kirk has looked good these past couple weeks, but can you rely on him in the playoffs against the Bucks, against the Rams, Packers, Cowboys again? Who am I missing? I'm missing someone. Did I say Cardinals? I don't know if I said Cardinals. Add Cardinals to that list. Just these top tier teams. I don't know if it's, if they shut down Dalvin Cook, is Kirk Cousins going to be able to handle it? I don't know, which is why they're so low here. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, it's only mid-season, so they still have time to get better, obviously. Every team does. Next is Washington. The only reason I have them above the Vikings is just because I like their defense a little more right now. Now, obviously, again, they just lost to Denver, who, again, I have Denver as the bottom, 4-team, 5-team, or whatever. But, I mean, they played the Packers pretty good. That would have been a closer game if, Taylor Heineke just, ran into the end zone instead of getting down on a knee and diving, controlling the ball better, reaching out of the goalposts and whatnot. They played the Chiefs pretty well in the first half, too, the week before. So, they're an okay team. It's just they just don't know how to finish. And I don't think their offense is quite where it was last year. Their defense isn't either. But I just think, I think they're a tad very close to the Vikings, but I would just barely edge out Washington right now. But again, I mean, this could easily turn next week. I mean, Washington could get blown out by, I don't even know who they're playing. If they're playing a mediocre team and get blown out, then I'd probably have to move them down. But, we're not there yet. I can't see the future. I'm recording this on a Tuesday, so, I don't know what's going to happen next week. So we'll see. But I just, just a little bit. Then coming in at 15 is the Colts. Now, they have a drastic fall from my beginning of the year rankings. They were in the top 10. I think there were 6 or 7 at the beginning of the year, and they fell to 15. This team did not look like how I thought they would. Whole time coming into the season, the offseason was this Colts defense looks good. I expect the Colts defense to be really good. Carson Wentz looks good, and then he gets injured, misses some time, and then he just does some bad throws. He had some of the worst interceptions, throwing the ball, and it's just a pick six, like a 2-yard pick six. It's just some of the worst decisions. And I mean, they're winning games, but they're just not against. Well, I mean, they lost to the Rams, lost to the Titans twice. Yeah, they're just as a team. I just thought they would be better. I really thought they would, and they weren't. So, just hopefully they get better. Because I want to see this team in the playoffs again. I think they could make a run, but their defense has to get better, and their offense has to get better. So, we'll see. Next, they have the Browns here at 14. They fell. They were, I think, my number 5, I believe, at the beginning of the season. They started out pretty good. Obviously, they lost to Kansas City week 1 in a very tight game. Couple of things, and they actually win this game. But, injuries and, they just didn't look that good. Obviously, a lot of the team wasn't healthy 100% against the Pittsburgh Steelers. They only lost by 5 points. So, it wasn't like they got blown out against the Steelers. But, just if they get healthy, they're probably a top 10 team again. But I just have them here at 14 because I'm worried that, this last couple weeks, they just haven't looked too good. So we'll see what happens. But I have them there at 14. Next is the Raiders at 13. They've gone through a lot. A lot. Since the season started, since those first power rankings, with coaches. Then we just had stuff come out about Henry Ruggs. He's probably done. His football career is probably done. But Raiders overall as a team, I mean, they've looked good. Obviously, they had a bye last week, so, we'll see. But, I mean, there's potential. I mean, if this team says, okay, you want to throw adversaries at us, and we're just going to take it, and we're going to, beat them up, we're going to become a better team, a stronger team. And that's what it feels like they kind of have been. So we'll see what happens after this newest incident. But, I think there's potential there. Right now, they do lead the West. So, very interesting right there. So, Next is the Saints at 12 or 11 here. Mainly, I mean, I would have had them lower, but they just beat the Bucs, and obviously they let the Bucs come back into the game, but they beat the Bucs, and then Sean Payton almost gave the game away, but then there was a pick six. So, I mean, the Saints deserve to be up here at, I think it's 11. I think that's where they are. No, I think it's just 12 because I believe I know who 11 is. But I don't know. I'm interested in the team. This team looks good. So I'm excited to see what goes on. Obviously, they've had ups and downs. But, you're in the division race now. You're a game behind. So, start winning. Tampa starts losing. Division is yours again. Simple as that. Yep, this is 11. I remember this one. Chargers. Come on. I would have had them in my top 5. But they lost the Ravens terribly. And then they just, well, it wasn't a, bad game, but they lost to the Patriots last week off of a bye. They had 2 weeks to prepare for the Patriots, and they lost. I had to move them out of the top 10. Going into the bye, you have a loss. Coming out of the bye, you have a loss. I don't get it. I don't get it. Chargers look like a really good team, and then they just got sloppy. So, I believe they lost to the Cowboys, too. So, then, big shakeup for the beginning of the year. Chiefs down here at number 10. Just strictly because they just don't look as good as what they did. Now, obviously, Chargers did beat them, but that was like week 3 or whatever it was. It was early in the season. All of a sudden, the Chargers are not looking as good as what they did against the Chiefs. And they only beat the Chiefs by, 4 points, 5 points. So, it's not like they manhandled the Chiefs, but, I mean, Chiefs aren't looking that good either. But I think, they play today. I think Chiefs could win. I do. So that's why I have them here at 10. I think they're just a little better than the Chargers. Number 9, Titans. I wanted them higher. I did. But now that Derrick Henry is potentially gone until potentially January, I don't know how they're going to do. Obviously, Ryan Tannehill isn't a bad QB at all. He's not. So we'll see what happens. I'm interested to see. Hopefully by, the playoffs, I think, they can probably win the division pretty good, pretty handily, pretty easily. So, I think it just depends on if Derrick Henry is back in time for the playoffs or not. They just got to win more games. And, you should be good. So we'll see how they do. But I want to put him higher. But Derrick Henry, now he's out. Then we have the Ravens ahead of him. Now, good team. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like their defense is good. I don't know if I call them, elite. But I think their offense carries. Obviously, again, you did just beat up the Chargers pretty good too the other week. But I have them. They're in my top 10, so they're a good team. But it's just they could be higher. We'll see what happens. I'm just interested to see. They're probably. No, never mind. I was going to say they're probably the lock for the AFC North, but they're not. They're not. That's all I got to say there. Because this team is right here, the Bengals coming in at, what is this, 8? 7? 7. There we go. How did you lose to the Jets? How did you lose to the Jets? We're not going to talk about them anymore. I don't know how they lost to the Jets, but coming in at 6, Tampa. Now, they were number 1 heading into week 1. They were number 1. Obviously, they just won the Super Bowl. I had to put them at number 1 just for that reason. I mean, Tom Brady looked human, and the Bucs looked beatable against the Saints. And the Saints are They're not in my top 10. And I just, I don't know how to feel about the Bucs because, they're playing bad teams. I mean, they played Miami and put up, 40, 44 or something like that, 45 or something against, Miami and whatnot. They're not playing top-tier teams. I know they barely beat the Cowboys week 1, but, week 1, you just don't know who you are. I don't know who else they played since. I can't even think of a good team they've beaten. I can't, besides the Cowboys is what I mean. Because they lost to the Rams. Yeah, I'm struggling to think of teams here. I wonder who else they play. Because they have kind of an easier schedule. And I think they play the Jets this year. Imagine if the Jets beat them. Speaking of the team that just beat them 4 weeks ago, I have the Rams at 5 here. Question marks. Obviously, they lost to the Cardinals. They did not look very good against the Cardinals. And I just, they're a very good team. When you can't beat, it's a divisional rival, but the Cardinals are just a very good team. So it's just, I'm shocked. Outside of the Cardinals, they beat the Bucs. They did struggle against the Lions, which is why I have them down here a little bit at 5. I can't remember who else they played. They have Seattle this weekend, I think. I don't remember. I think it's Seattle. I think all 4 NFC West teams play this weekend, which that's crazy to me. But just they're a good team. I've loved watching Matthew Stafford. I'm glad he's out there slinging it and whatnot. Cooper Kupp's probably going to break Megatron's record. So I'm interested to see. They added Von Miller, obviously, but I'm interested to see. Coming in at number 4, I have the Bills. Bills just, outside of that Titans game, they look pretty good. Obviously, again, they struggled in the first half against Miami, and then they turned on the Jets in the second half. No pun intended. I think they're going to be a good team. Obviously, again, you lost to the Titans, but the Titans are going to be a playoff team. So, that's it. You beat Chiefs, who are probably going to be a playoff team, but you beat the Chiefs. Who else have they played? Did you beat the Ravens? No, I think I'm thinking of last year. I'm trying to think. There's another good team. There's another good team I'm not thinking of right now because I know they played a couple good teams. I can't remember who else they played, but the point is they're good. I expect them to be, a 1 or a 2 seed. I don't expect the Raiders to stay up there. I think who's number 1? No, Raiders are number 1, and then whoever's number 2, I don't expect to stay there. I think Bills are going to be 1 or 2 come playoff time. So then at number 3, I have the Cowboys. Now, I know. People are probably thinking, why do you have the Cowboys here? They're probably going to end up just flopping second half of the season. We'll see. They've looked good so far. Obviously, they looked okay against the Vikings. Obviously, lost to the Patriots. You lost to the Bucs week 1. You almost lost to the Patriots too. So, I have them here at 3. They are, I think, statistically on paper, I think they're the number 1 offense right now. They're very good, high flying. They won without Dak too, so I think they deserve to be top 3. I think they're just a very good team overall. But again, it's week 8. We'll see what happens. I could be coming in by week 17 or week 18. Excuse me. I keep forgetting that extra week and saying, Cowboys are top 15, but they're not top 10. So what happened in the second half of the season? We'll see what happens. I don't know their schedule for the second half. But they've looked pretty good so far this season, so that's why I'm at 3. Then number 2 is the Arizona Cardinals. Now, if you have not noticed, have not been paying attention, I'm sure you know who number 1 is. We'll talk about them in a second. Arizona Cardinals have looked very good. Obviously, first 7 weeks undefeated, 7 weeks before getting beat by the Packers in a close game. It was very close. I think it wouldn't have been as close if the Packers were healthy. But, I mean, you played with what you had. You had J.J. Watt out. You had D-Hop, who had one long catch, and that was basically it. He had, I think, one other reception for 11 yards or something like that. And that's basically it. So, you didn't have him. And then, I mean, you technically, if A.J. Green would have known the play, you probably would have won. But, it comes down more than just the A.J. Green play. But it was a very good game. One of the best games of the season, in my opinion. I really love watching that game. Even if the Packers lost, again, I'm a Packers fan if you don't know, but even if the Packers lost, it was just a very good game overall. Like, it's probably a top 10 game of the season, honestly, right now. And we're only 8 weeks through. Very good. I expect them to probably come out of the West and win the West. I think right now, they're probably the favorites too. I expect them to do good, and they are. And, I'm happy for them. Obviously, they have beaten the Packers a couple times in playoff games. So, but outside of that, it's just fun to watch. Kyler Murray is so much fun to watch. Just running around. I don't know if he become MVP favorite after the Packer game. I don't know. He had 3 interceptions, 2 or 3 interceptions that game. So I don't know if he's MVP favorite right now, but I think he's probably going to win MVP by the end of the season. I can honestly see it. So then coming in at number 1, yes, it's the Packers. Now, I seriously sat here and thought, I'm like, I can't be biased. This has to be, actual power rankings. But I thought, the Packers just beat the best team in the NFL with so many people out. So what does that say about them? And I thought, could they beat Dallas? Yes. Okay, so let's go. So could they beat Dallas? Yes, they obviously just beat the Cardinals. Could they beat the Bills? Healthy. Yes, I think so. Could they beat the Rams healthy? I think so. Could they beat the Bucks healthy right now? I think so. Bengals, they beat the Bengals. They should have probably lost, but they beat the Bengals. Ravens, we'll see. They play the Ravens later this year. Titans, last time we played the Titans last year, we bottled up Derrick Henry, and we won the game because we bottled up Derrick Henry. Chiefs, they play the Chiefs this weekend. I think they could probably win. I think they're probably favorites this weekend. So all these top 10 teams here I have, I went through and I'm like, I think a fully healthy Packers squad could beat every single top 10 team. I think they could. And I think it's either very close, like they could win it very close, or I think, if they lose by a point or two. And I just think, right now, they just look like the best team in the NFL. Obviously, you just come off of beating the best team in the league with a whole bunch of people out, as I said, due to COVID, due to injuries. And now we're going to start getting those people back. And I think it's going to be kind of scary to face these teams. Now, again, we're potentially going to have MVS back, Alan Lazard back. We're going to have our defensive head coach back. Zadarius Smith is going to come back probably within the next 3 weeks. Jair should probably be back by December. David Bakhtiari should be back by, next couple of weeks. You just go down the list, and there's just so many people coming back, and it's just, I don't know. I don't know how many teams. Now, obviously, again, you have a good game plan. You can beat any team at all. But I just think right now, unbiasedly, just looking at all of them, I just think that, Packers could beat anyone. I think Packers-Dallas would be a very fun game. Again, I believe the Dallas number 1 offense in the league. Put that up against Aaron Rodgers and their offense. Going up, you're going to have the Dallas offense versus that Packers defense, which is, I think, top 10 statistically. You're going to have, Dallas defense, which has been pretty good too. I think this would be a very fun NFC Championship game. I think it would be. So we'll see what happens. But just right now, I just think Packers could beat anyone. I do. I think Dallas gives them a fight. Obviously, I think Cardinals give them a fight either way. Bucks are going to give them a fight just because, history and whatnot. Rams are going to give them a fight. I mean, was it 7, 8 points we beat them by playoffs last year, but, we've gotten better. Bengals, again, we probably should have lost. Ravens, again, we play them, after Christmas, so we'll see. Titans, we don't play them again. Kansas City next week. So I'm interested. I'm really interested to see it. I mean, Packers are going to be facing a lot of these top-tier teams and potentially seeing others in the playoffs. So, I'm excited for this team. Unbiasedly, I don't think it's a team better. I don't. So, obviously people are going to argue, say Dallas this, or the Cardinals are still better, or Tampa is still better, or the Chiefs are going to just mop the floor with the Packers, and they're going to be the best team again. I don't think so. I think it's going to be very hard to beat them. A full, healthy Packers team, it's going to be very hard to beat. So for now, like the video, share the video around. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'm out of here. Peace.